comic friends and fiends? It's Rob in front of the Great Wall of Comics, and with me I got Chris, the comic vet.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
Hey, thanks for joining me. We're going to be doing some slab hubbing, little comic book porn, going deep into Rob's fat Stax comics, so to speak. I after I posted a picture the other day from the comic cave, which is my garage, and just like Batman, everything's got to be a something, right? The comic wall and the comic cave, and here's my comic mug for the day. Anyways, hope somebody calls me on the comic phone. Hello, Commissioner. What's that, CGC? You're behind? No way. Anyways, I posted a picture, and there was 12 boxes that are just slabs. And so I kind of threw it out there. Hey, people are curious. People love slabs. They like to see what people got and thing. And I thought, hey, I like to show off my stuff. Let me take a moment to share what we got. And while we're at it, I thought I'd open it up, tell you guys a little bit about the books as we go through one box on this ongoing series over the next several weeks. Give you guys the opportunity to ask questions, not just about the slabs that I present, but if you have any questions about grading in general or that type of stuff, if I know the answer, I'm happy to ask. I've done a lot of research. For those of you guys who watched the channel or some of my older stuff back when I had the full beard and everything, I did some big segments on reviewing all four of the comic grading services, PGX, EGS, CBCS, CGC. I've used them all, and I have no real preferences. Well, I have a minor one that I don't care about as much, but the rest of them I really don't have a big preference one way or the other. So I have knowledge on all of them. I'm happy to answer questions about what I know. Without much ado, let's say hello to a few people that are in the chat who made time to show up. Jennifer, welcome to the show. Digger Jim, good to have you with us. Comic Hunter, how do you do, sir? And of course, my man Sold Twice, which I do want to make, as long as he's here, I'm going to throw it out there again. If you hadn't seen it, the commission that Sold Twice did for me on my Harley Quinn and Gossamer book, he's doing, I call him the man of 1,000 chibi heroes, and he does do commissions for you guys. Just hit him up as Sold Twice on the Instagram. He's doing them like $15 unless he changed his price. So check him out. Anyways, without much other ado, why don't we get in this? Make sure you guys turn the lights down, close the door. Your kid, your parent, your wives aren't in the room, or your significant others not in the room, so they don't know what you're watching, because we're gonna hub it up. All right.
Oh, yes.
First one out of the box. Now, the way I organize these, just so you guys know, these boxes themselves, for the most part, are alphabetized, but I take my box. I can't keep my boxes alphabetized because you're constantly shifting. When you have one or two boxes, it's one thing. When you have 12 plus boxes, it's too difficult to move around. So they just get thrown in whatever box I'm currently working on. I use the collector's the CZ app, as well as the web thing, which, if you don't know what it is, I'm going to do a whole nother show in the future on it, but it's a way to inventory your collection and allows me to assign boxes to it. So all my boxes are numbered. This is box GB1, stands for graded books, box 1. So that's how it is, in case you guys are wondering. So first book in here, Batman, the volume 3, issue 92, the Art Germ cover. This is, of course, the first cover appearance of Punchline, a book that had a lot of hype, not obviously a very valuable book. It is a cover buy, and there's a billion of them out there, mostly because the people were chasing the 1 in 25, which I do have like 4 copies of, but not to flex on that too much, right?
Well, but Punchline is hot right now. Her first appearance is starting to go right back up the roller coaster
Yeah, right
from
here.
having a little bit of dip. That's a good book to hold on to, though.
Yeah, no, and that's right there on the wall. There, you guys can see the Hell Risen issue 3, first full appearance of Punchline, which
Yeah.
was, of course, was added actually. Odd note, wasn't originally intended to be her first full appearance, but she was added to the book kind of post haste.
Right.
Both my Batman 89s and the A cover are off at CGC right now, and I do have a 9.9 of the Matina B cover on Batman 89.
Ooh.
And you can't see it, but just off wall, the very top corner there is the one per store double signed one there. So let's see what we got here. We got the Slotted Up has joined the group there. Welcome, Slot It Up. How you doing? All right. Speaking of that 1 in 25, so there you go. There's the 1 in 25. This represents. I think I have 5 copies of this 1 in 25.
Wow.
One of them is double signed right now. Another one's off at a different double signing for some of the interior artists. One of them is a single signed, and this one is the only slabbed one that has no signatures. And then there's one I have that's just raw, just to keep a raw copy because
Jorge Jimenez was having some did a fantastic string of covers there with those ratio variants.
Yeah, those were
fantastic.
Yeah, those were my number one collective for last 2020 was my number one cover pick because they did their job of making me buy covers.
Yeah.
All right, next up in a 9.6, Rom Space Knight, the first appearance of Rom the Space Knight. That is the origin and first appearance, no less. Interestingly enough, this is a Frank Miller and Joe Rubenstein book.
It's a great little factoid.
Yeah, I almost sent it in for the Frank Miller signing, but I'm not willing to pay what Frank Miller wants for a signing to get. It's worth more. That's more than this book is worth, really. Sadly.
As a child that grew up in the 80s, I did have a Rom Space Knight toy, and let me tell you, it took a beating, a serious beating. When Optimus Prime showed up in my toy collection, Rom quickly fell down the list of favorite toys and took a beating from Optimus Prime. So yeah.
I mean, Rom, there's been a lot. It's really kind of a spec book, right? It has been for a while.
Yes.
We'll see whether or not something ever happens with it. It's first you kind of think, well, it's kind of an out there property, but Marvel has done nothing but show us that, hey, we'll do out there properties.
And there's actually some ROM completionists out there. I saw on YouTube some people that are working on that entire run, which is good for them. If you love it that much, I know that it did have an interesting storyline through the comic books that differentiated away from what the toys were meant to be. But again, ROM is something like if you get an issue 1 in a high grade, you may want to hold on to that bad boy. Something may happen with.
Well, and there was a 9/8 of issue 2 that was in my Let's Go Drinking mystery box actually went out.
Yep.
So I don't know who picked that one up, but that was a good pull for somebody there.
Yep.
All right. This next one, Ghost Spider issue 1. This is the Clayton Crane trade dress. It is one of 1,000 copies that was produced. Matter of fact, this is issue 893 out of 1,000. This is currently sitting in this PGX holder, but is actually getting cracked out. I'm cracking this out of the slab this next week, and it is going off to a Clayton Crane signing for the Infinity signature. And then back over at CGC. He's doing his signing is early May. If you got any Clayton Crane stuff you guys want to get done, and there actually is a remark opportunity, but I'm gonna hold off on spending the money on the remark.
I saw on Crane's feed that he's going to be doing another tour this summer, so through the United States. So you guys are actually very fortunate that he's out there doing what he's doing. It definitely must be a labor of love for Clayton Crane, who does have one of the best signatures in comics. Let's admit
Yeah, I mean, you
Yep.
can when you submit it. So this one that's coming up in May is at CGC. So it's a
Okay.
CGC in-house.
Yep.
So you can send it in, and there's different price. There's the regular signature, the Infinity signature, and then if you want a remark. But I think there's only a dozen remarks that were going to be available. So who knows? All right. Next up, Scream, Curse of Carnage. This is a David Nakayama breakfast cereal variant. I kind of dug these breakfast cereal variants, and
Yes. Yes.
Raisin Hell. It was
That could be the best one of that subtitle lot. That's terrific. Raising hell. Awesome,
I don't know
Rob.
if you saw the
Awesome.
ones they did for Batman, the animated continues, or what Batman continues, whatever it was. I can't remember what it was called, but some of them were pretty great too. But
Yeah.
so this is just there's no special key to it. It's just strictly this is 100% a cover by book, and is valued about $120 is about the fair market value on it right now, for this cover. But
Yeah.
knock
That's
off at least $20 because it's in a PGX label. But whatever. The thing I like, and I'll have a bunch because last year I did send a lot of stuff to PGX for grading, and I'll tell you, because most of the stuff is for my PC. Although if you guys see something that you really want and want to PM me to see if I'm interested in moving it, I will entertain discussions and be fair in my consideration. But anyways, it was one of those books that I said it was $13 to have it slabbed at PGX. It's kind of with a 30-day turnaround time. That is tough to say no to sometimes, especially now when you look at the quality control at CGC. More and more complaints of it. It's granted, I still had more quality control issues with PGX than I did with CGC. But for my PC, for books that I was just wanted to preserve, I couldn't beat $13. All
Very
right.
good.
Next up here, this one, oh yeah. All right. This is just not from 1977. This is Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. It is not a first appearance. It is just an appearance of White Tiger. Oops, try to keep that. Sorry about the bags. I don't want to pull these out of the bags because it is a hassle, noisy, and takes time. But so it's just it's a 1977 book, 9.8. Great book there. Ooh, and if you remember, you could go see the movie Orca.
I wonder what franchise they were hopping on there.
Opening in July at a theater near you.
Yeah.
Don't go near the beach. You've heard of Jaws. Well, now there's Orca.
Right. Shortly after that, we got Piranha.
God, I remember this. All right. Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, first appearance of Cloak and Dagger in a 9.2 here. Oops, trying to keep the glare off of that book there. So that's a nice little book there, just to have. Cloak and Dagger. Nothing really much came from the show. The show wasn't very good, but they're a fun entity. Although I have always questioned, and we talked about it, Slotted Up and I, in our show about inappropriate costumes about a teenage girl with that much cutout, because she wasn't an adult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes, I remember this. All right, this is Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man, issue 90. This is the first appearance of the black costume in this title. So the symbiote costume first time shows up in Spectacular Spider-Man in this issue here. So is that a key? Well, to certain collectors, yes.
It's a little bit of a bump for those that are working on the Spectacular run. That issue does have some heat to it, just because it is the first appearance of the black suit, and that Black Cat does have an appearance as well. What year is that? Is that 84?
Vision Witch. This is 84.
Yeah.
May of 84, and Vision and Scarlet Witch cameo as well.
Yep. That's a very nice book for those that like the Spectacular run.
And these, some of these books you'll see. So I do have, you'll see, especially on anything that's outside the Silver Age, I tend to have a pretty high. Most of my collections will be 8.5 and above. Um, but there's certain books like these. You grab a 9.6. These things. I'm not a 9.8 snob. I mean, I will save myself quite a bit of money to have a 9.6, a 9.4, whatever, if it makes sense there.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Brian? Welcome to the show. We're just really barely getting started. Reminder to anybody, if you guys have any questions about any of these slabs or about grading or anything else throughout this process, please, by all means, throw it out there. The Comic Vet is here to help me make sure I'm on it and answering your guys' questions as they come up, as well as to provide color commentary. Speaking of color, nice yellow cover. Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man. We have Spot. This is a book that gained a little bit of heat recently because of Spot coming back up in the run. Black Cat Kingpin and Spot appearance. Nothing other special. A nice Al Milgrom book from 1985 in a 9.8. This book in a 9.8, guys, is only going to run you really just about $100 or so. So it's a nice, affordable book. Matter of fact, that's the thing about the Spectacular Spider-Man. It's funny about Spider-Man, huge collectible book. If it's Amazing Spider-Man, if it's not Amazing Spider-Man, it's really just kind of like well, if it's a key, sure, it'll get some value. But I mean, even the very first issue of Spectacular Spider-Man isn't that expensive in a high 9.6, 9.8.
Right. I would agree with that, especially, and Web of Spider-Man doesn't get that much love either, outside of the issue number one, with the painted cover, which is beautiful.
It is, but even still, I picked up my copy of that just recently from DJ Links. At the time I got it from him, fair market value on a 9.8 on it was only $100. Now it's about 150, but which is pretty odd for a 50% increase in like 4 months. But it is what anything symbiote related right now is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I would agree. The only big value books that come off the top of my head for Spectacular and Web, for those that are completionists trying to put that run together, that's going to cost you a pretty penny, would probably be The Last Hunt with Craven. Those two books that appeared in each one of those titles, with Amazing getting the other two as well.
So Gary B actually was talking about this book not too long ago. This is Spider Woman. This is a book that if you don't have it in your collection, I mean, go and get it. There's a billion of them out there. As a matter of fact, there's been recently reported that there's been warehouse finds of boxes and boxes of these still in the original shipping stuff. Wow. So there's a lot of them available in high grade. It doesn't cost you a lot, but it's a nice piece of history. It's a classic cover. It's probably going to cost, in a 9.6 was a Spider Woman. This is going to run you fair market value on this is being reported right now is about $95. So,
but what about that UPC code that's there? That's gonna get you a little bit of a bump as well, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
depends on the collector, Yeah, and maybe in this case, simply just because the warehouse find obviously was going to be direct markets. That there's a lot of those available, so this may become like the Spawn #1, right? Where the only thing that matters is do you have the newsstand variant or not? But I'm not a guy who, for the most part, I have made it pretty clear my view on newsstands and subsequent printings. Newsstand is still just the first printing. It really shouldn't be any different in my mind. It's just where you bought it off the store. Just same thing. I don't believe in. I don't personally put any extra value on the freaking Mark Jewelers or any other garbage. And I always think that a subsequent printing is worth less than the first printing. But that's just me.
True child of the 80s. Yep.
Let's see. I just finished my Web of Spider-Man, bought the entire run late last year. Yeah, good. Yeah, those are nice things. A run like that, you could probably buy whether you finish it and piecemealing it, or whether, like, I just did my complete run of Savage She-Hulk, right? I picked that up as a lot, 2 through 25. I already only had issue 1. I was able to pick it all up for less than $200 because people aren't putting value on certain books, and Web of Spider-Man is one of those ones that you could probably find complete runs even for disgusting cheap. But good for you, Brian. Soul Twice asks, as an artist, I'd like to get certified. Do you know anything about the process and services I should investigate? Unfortunately, I do not know anything necessarily about that process, only that you can do it. I would reach out to the grading company that you want to do. I know both CBCS, CGC, both have a process that you go through, and it's basically just kind of registering and probably giving them samples of stuff to get entered into their database. The difference is going to be, though, Soul Twice, is you may not want to do CGC simply because, as CGC is going to require for people to get yellow label, it's going to have to be witnessed by a CGC witness. So unless you also, or you have to facilitate on behalf of the person who sends you the art, then you have to deal with sending it to CGC directly from the artist to them. And so that may be not something you want to deal with. So doing a CBCS where you can send it back and they can get it authenticated with the now that CBCS is doing the yellow authentication label, that might be the better course for you. But yeah, Digger Jim's saying that Squatchy Comics is certified, he thinks, with CGC. So I mean, just reach out to them and you can ask them what the process would be, and I'm sure that they'll be happy to guide you through it. Excuse me. All right, we're about a third of the way through here. All right, I don't know why I started to cover up the grade. Old habit when I'm pulling out slabs, right? So this is Star Wars 108. So now this is volume 1 that was originally from the 1977 that then quit. Once Marvel reacquired the property, they did a one title on this where they went back to the original storyline, including Valance. I think that's his name, Valance. Anyways, so this was brought. I ended up grabbing 3 copies of this because at one point it was going for something stupid like $100 a copy. So I sent one of them in to be graded, and at a 9.8, this is now only really a $34 comic, but it's Star Wars. I grew up. I watched Star Wars at the drive-in theater on the metal box hanging from your window, the way that Lucas intended it for it to be heard.
Yeah. We all have Star Wars stories from our youth. Mine was simple. In The Empire Strikes Back, I was taken to a theater by my dad and my 2 older sisters, and when Vader took Luke's hand, I screamed out in terror, so much so that my dad had to remove me from the theater because I was being such a disturbance. But yeah.
All right, these next 2 books, these are some of my favorite Greg Horn covers. Unfortunately, I have not gotten the third. So somebody gets it's a set of 3 different covers that were done in World War II style propaganda posters, which I love. I have an entire coffee table book of Star Wars propaganda poster style art. It's just amazing. So this is Star Wars issue 1. The Force is with you, getting up there and fly for the Republic type things. These were available. This was available from GameStop when GameStop made this stupid decision to save their business by getting into comics. Yeah, there you go. Not because every comic book person was going to go get comics from the game store instead of their comic book shop, and comic book industry wasn't struggling at all. Anyways, this was available as an exclusive to their Power players. So this is one was for Star Wars, and the next one here was for Star Wars Princess Leia. Don't
Very
be
nice.
silent. Join the rebellion.
Very nice.
A million voices cried out. So the third one that I'm missing is the Darth Vader one. So if somebody's out there and is has one that they're looking to get rid of, especially if you have it, I guess maybe in a 9.6, since these two are 9.6s, but I wouldn't turn away a 9.8. Anyways, the I'm looking to add that. Oh yeah, look at that, slotted up there, pimping us. Look at, he's telling you to go. Make sure you go sign up, sub up the Comic Vet, and yes, you should definitely do that. Thank you very much there. All right, next up, though, a Darth Vader book. This is a 1 in 25 ratio variant of the Series 2, Volume 2 of Darth Vader, issue number 1.
Very nice.
I believe that's the right one. That's the 1 in 25. I wanted to make sure because I know there's a 1 in 50 variant somewhere in my collection too. So, all right. Next up, Darth Vader issue 2. I think some of these were ones where I ended up getting them. This is just the regular Enoch Lee cover. These ones were ones where like I was buying. I got them pre-ordered 9.8 guarantee. I was paying like $39 for them.
Oh my sweet Jesus!
So yes. So it's like it's $5 for the book, and it's gonna cost me whatever. Okay, just give it to me. But now I no longer do business with that company because that company ghosted me on one that I got damaged. I'll say it because I have no fear. Hot Shot Comics, eBay seller. They sell a lot of cheap slabs, but damn, they have poor customer service. When I got one, it was damaged. They ghosted me, and I ended up having to eat the reholder fee to get it fixed. Even though I had a video live unboxing that showed that it came that way.
Not cool, man. That's just not cool.
But anyways. Here's an old one from 1972. So it's older than I am. Submariner, issue number 51. This is actually my first Submariner book that I owned. And then later on would get me to go get my run of the first 12 issues of Submariner and eventually pick up my reprint of the first appearance of Submariner, because God knows none of us can afford the first appearance of Submariner, not with a cover on it, that's for sure, and definitely not in a 9 if one even existed.
Yeah, it's a very nice book.
Oh, right. Ooh, this one I love. So this is actually one of the first books I actually sent to get slabbed myself. Because I actually sent it. Well, actually rephrase that. This was my first batch of CGC books I ever sent in. So I sent them in through my LCS because I was intimidated. I didn't know what to do. And I recommend for anybody, if you're thinking about getting a book slabbed and you're not sure about the process and it just seems too intimidating, talk to your LCS or talk to a local facilitator that can help you with the process until you're comfortable submitting yourself. My LCS was super helpful in that they took my books that I brought in, they looked at them themselves, they gave me an idea of what they thought the grades were going to be, they let me know whether or not they thought it needed to be pressed or not. So we ended up splitting the order into 2 submissions. So although I had to pay 2 submission fees, it was less than paying for pressing on half the books. And so, hats off. And sometimes maybe if you're just intimidated, you don't know whether a book's worth doing, using your LCS and using their expertise of a facilitator or whatever can help to catch things that you may not catch early on that would potentially, this book could be worth $200, but once you send it in and then you didn't catch something minor, but it knocks it down a grade point or 2, then all of a sudden it's a $30 book and you go, and that's happens all the time. Ask DJ Lynx about his first appearance of Gambit.
Yeah, wise words.
That's a sensitive subject. Sorry. Anyway, so here we go. This is the Superior Octopus. So this was just before he switched off to be his own the Superior Spider-Man title, where he moved off to San Francisco. We had the Superior Octopus. Somebody got the other, the Battle Lines variant in their box. I had the Battle Lines variant as well, but this is the Chemicoli, I believe. Yep, the Chemicoli variant, ratio variant, which I just totally dig. is not a super valuable book. Again, I think this is it's listed right now. The fair market value is about $60, but it's just a good looking book. Do. Are you guys getting hot and bothered yet with all this Slab Hub action? Yeah, don't worry. You'll get the climax soon. All right. Oh yeah. Well, I bet you like it raw, don't you, there, Ramon? All right. So this book, I bought this one because when I started first getting some slab books, I bought this book as a slab book. I've since had it reholdered. It was a PGX book when I bought it, and it still is a PGX book, but I had it reholdered off of their old books, their old slabs, which I really don't like. This book was one I bought simply because I wanted to own, and I didn't think that I would eventually move as upscale with my collection as I eventually did, but I wanted to own a Jack Kirby Stan Lee book. So this is a book, Jack Kirby art and cover, and a Stan Lee story. This is Thor 149. When a hero falls, or when falls a hero, in an 8.5. Not a stupid valuable book in an 8.5. This is only about it fluctuates between $80 to $120 from one month to the next. But it was just one of those things where I sat there and I said, man, I need to have a book in my collection that the two of them collaborated on. Since then, I've acquired other books and more upscale, but this was the first one in my collection that was that combo, the Godfathers of modern comics.
I can respect that. For me, when I think of the two of them doing what they did best, it was the early FF run. So I can totally, and that, I only say that because the Fantastic Four was one of my favorite storylines to read in my teen years when I was introduced to more mature type of superhero comic books.
Around the Malice Entity time period?
Yeah. so I can totally respect what you're talking about there, that you wanted an early combo book, and Thor is a good way to go. But yeah, it's not like that Thor book will ever drop down. It's just gonna just hold its way. But yeah, that's fire right there, Rob. That's fire.
I saw somebody post it, one of the on Instagram. Somebody posted a picture of this book, and it was like the 375th, I think it was 375th or issue or something, anniversary issue of Fantastic Four. And I was like, oh, dude, was that book published in the 90s? Let's take a look. It had a chromium foil cover. Yeah. It had Sue Richards in the boob window 4 cutout. Yeah. Reed Richards wearing a vest with a billion cargo pockets. The Thing with his helmet on, with a supersized gun. And it's like, let's see, foil cover, scantily clad women with disproportionate body, oversized guns, a billion pouches. Yeah, it checks all the boxes. That's a 90s book right there.
Yeah. That's probably about 96, 97, right at the height.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Here's another Thor book. Just in case you were feeling good, now you can feel Thor. To steal that joke from Kevin Smith, when his daughter says that, I just can't help myself so much. Yes, never could figure it out. Definitely would sign you up for the 90s. I mean, that's when I did not, I'm going to spoil this because I'm going to figure at this point, Jimmy's never going to invite me on 10 questions. So I'll tell him a little bit of my origin there. Right. So, I didn't collect, I'm too small time for Jimmy the Don. I started reading comics in the early 90s when I was like 92, 93, when I was at military college, when I was first getting privileges and could do something, and there was a spinner rack at the PX, and I could get myself some comics to read. And that's Fantastic Four and the 2099 universe had just launched. And that's why I'm a big 2099 guy, is those were like the first books I could get. And it was right there during the Johnny Torch had just flamed out Empire State University, and we had the new Fantastic Four in there of She-Hulk and Wolverine and Ghost Rider or whatever, and all that other fun stuff. So, anyways.
Can you remember the singular title, the singular creation that was done for the 2099 storyline when they pumped them all out? We had Spider-Man, Punisher, and then there was that new creation,
Ravage.
Ravage. That's right.
Ravage 2099. Yeah, I have multiples now. Thanks to Gary B giving me my Ghost Rider. Of those 2099 titles, I now have multiple copies of all the number ones. So
Very
Ravage,
good.
Punisher, Ghost Rider, X-Men, Spider-Man, of course, and a whole bunch of, and of course, thanks to my man Taylor, who hooked me up and got me that Toy Biz cover, which I posted on Instagram and did a video the other day when I opened that up. I mean, that's just, anyways. Here we go. Thor, back to the porn. For Thor 339. This is, of course, the first appearance of Stormbreaker.
Yeah, some Walt Simonson love right there.
A little Beta Ray Bill appearance.
Yep.
And a 9-8 there. How are you doing, Southern Comic Geek? Welcome aboard. Never could figure it out. Batman 469 was the first book I ever bought with my own money. There's good memory. I honestly, I think the very first book that I bought was probably I don't remember the number, but I know it was a Fantastic Four book, and I think it was the one where the new Fantastic Four is fighting the regular Fantastic Four, and that's the one where Wolverine claws Thing's face, and he ends up wearing that helmet for so long. All right, children who grew up in the 80s, this book is for you, for it is more than meets the eye. And it's not number 1 though. This is number 10.
Yes,
the first appearance of the Dinobots. Me Grimlock, no like Autobot Commander. Slag, no like either.
That was some compelling television that went right into that comic book right there. Let me tell you,
dude,
it was like a two-parter, wasn't it? Yeah.
This is just awesome sauce to me, and it's like if some of me wants to go back and I will probably at some point upgrade this, but I was just like, well, it was cheap, and I was just like, oh yeah. Grimlock no bozo, me king.
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah.
All right. Ooh, we're going deep. Oh, okay. This is
wait. Did you just say that we're going deep? How fitting, sir. How fitting.
We're going deep into Rob's Fact Sacks. We're deep into the box now.
That's right.
Here we
go. Enjoy your time on.
But I didn't order a pizza. No, but did you order a slab? Ultimate Spider-Man. This is issue 36. It's just got an Eddie Brock appearance. It's got Venom on the cover. Is there anything special about this book? No. Why do I own it? Very simple. I paid $19 on eBay for this book, and plus shipping. And then the slab actually got cracked somewhere. I think on the edge there's some damage here. I don't know if you can really see it. And the guy refunded me my shipping costs for it, and I've just never bothered to reholder it. So that's why it's in my collection. Sometimes there was a period of time where I was just like looking at eBay, looking at slabs that were a 9.6, 9.8 for less than $50, and
we've all been there. Yep.
Picking them up. Now we get to some. All right, let me scroll down a little bit in my inventory list so I can make sure I get these right here. So this is Uncanny X-Men issue 134. This is the first appearance of Jean Grey as the Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, big book. That's a very important key book in the Uncanny run.
Yeah,
very nice.
And still affordable if you don't want, as long as you're not rushing, if you're not a 9.8 chaser, right? So this book in 9.2, it's going to present well. It's a good book for your collection. Potentially, I could potentially crack it and press it, and it might get a little bit of a bump. Looks like there might be a couple minor things in there that could be pressed out, but I don't care. This is a book that's going right now. Fair market value on this book is about $1.50. I mean, 150. When I say $1.50 American, by the way. So what's that, about 190 Canadian, roughly?
In and around 190 to 200, depending on the day.
Yeah.
Depending how the political landscape is going that morning.
Depending upon if the polar bears are getting ready to invade.
Yeah, no.
Uncanny
Oh,
X-Men
yes.
135, the second appearance of Jean Grey's Dark Venus, and the first appearance of Senator Robert Kelly.
Yep. That cover has been getting some homage in the last couple of years too.
Oh.
That's a big book. Big book.
All right. Uncanny X-Men, issue 158. This, of course, is the third appearance of Rogue.
Yeah. Very important book where Rogue takes on the whole team and wipes them all out.
Also appearances by Starjammers, Mystique, and Carol Danvers.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
I was about to say something, but I just realized that was probably politically incorrect, so I won't. All right, let's move right along. X-Men 297 in a 9.8. Why? Because for some reason this book continued to show up for a long period of time on Go Collect with a fair market value of somewhere in the neighborhood of $200. It makes no sense why it was, but it continued to do so over and over and over again for the better part of a year. So finally I said, I'll spend $13 to slab a copy I had from my wife's collection. And it turned out to come back as a 9.8. It's a PGX 9.8. I don't think... To be honest, I don't think it's a 9.8. I do see 3 small micro spine ticks on it, so it's probably really a 9.6, 9.4. But I'm not going to re-slab it right now. It's just sitting in my PC. Does it have any value? Well, right now the fair market value on it's finally dropped to about 80. The recent sales range from about 50 to 70, $80. Nothing special really about it, but it's X-Men. Somebody's collecting a run. They want to collect a run. It's there. That was pretty much when I started getting back into comics. My wife, I've had for a while, the bulk of the books were my wife's books. She collected also when she was young. And we'd moved them from one house to the next house where we've been married, and they just sat taped, the boxes were long boxes were all taped up and hadn't been undone for 20 something years. They survived an apartment flooding, and everything else. And like, I got them and I went through them all and rebagged and boarded them all, and because there was a bunch of them that were actually just loose in the box raw, and some various other things. And but no Sleepwalker slabs yet. Will there be? We have 12 weeks to find out.
Stay tuned.
This is a long journey. All right, this one's a pure cover buy right here. I dig this. This is from volume 3 of Venom, so it's issue 151. This is the Venomized Mary Jane with a little Othello. I think that's right. I'm not a Shakespeare guy. I don't know. I'm probably wrong. Not Othello. What is it? What was I don't know.
Yeah.
I cheated English. I slimed my way out of high school English to purposefully avoid having to read Shakespeare. But I'm sure that somebody in this chat is smart enough to know.
Hamlet.
Thank you, Hamlet. See, we didn't have to go to the chat. I don't know. Like I said, I took we're down to like 5 books left. I took things like creative writing and drama and mythology that counted as English instead of taking real English classes. So I figured I already spoke it. What did I need to do, right? Here's another one. It's a great cover. A Mary Jane Venom cover. This is the current run, the Donny Cates run, Venom issue number 1. with the "Face It, You Just Hit the Jackpot" Tiger Venom cover. So this was available also, complete version without the text bubble. That one's worth more, but I purposely went for this one because I like the text bubble. If you've watched my channel, you know I'm all about Mary Jane, and this last panel from that issue, just ASM 42.
I was just going to say, and that line is
42.
iconic. Yeah, that line is iconic too.
It's just great. All right. Oh, here we go. Shannon Mayer. Shannon Mayer cover here. So Shannon Mayer is one of these newer artists doing a lot of the digital art. And some of these guys put out some amazing stuff with this digital art. Shannon Mayer, I will probably say I tend to like about 75% of what he does. Every once in a while he does a cover that I'm just like, I can see why people would like it, but it just doesn't do anything for me. This was the first issue. He did a series when X-Men relaunched here of title for each one. And I've got most of them in a Virgin and a trade. And this one is the first one to come up in our journey here together. X-Men issue number 2. This is, of course, with X-23 on the cover. Actually, what's funny is I would say that X-23 on the various variants of X-Men books I have collected of this current run, when they do not just Shannon Mayer, but various. I think the X-23 was the most. I'd have to do math, but I honestly think she is. If she's not the most, she's definitely one of the most making the most cover appearances on these variants from different artists. I know Ji Hung Lee did a bunch of them too. Matter of fact, he did X-23 like on X-Men Coming at You. Then on X-Force did the exact same thing with her walking away, so you get the big butt shot and stuff. But so anyway, Shannon Mayer, X-Men number 2. 2 remaining. Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen, issue number 3. We have the A cover there. This is the B cover. This was my V18 or my V17 from that Spider-Man booth win. Slab that was in my box. Year of the Villain, Hell Risen. This one is taking a little bit of a bump. There you go. Look at him flexing with the 9.8. Way to go there, brother. Let me there you go. Get a little. Show them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. For those who think that Punchline is cooling down, you're wrong at the moment.
Yeah.
Punchline is heating back up on the secondary market for whatever reason. Now's the time to either sell or try and get on the train. But I do think that cover is better than the first one, but strangely enough, it's not as worth as much as the cover.
It doesn't have the Joker. Well, right. I think here's the thing with DC. I think that most of their B covers are generally the better.
Oh, 100% agree.
Covers.
100% agree. Yeah,
but
that's the set A cover.
Yeah, but people put the value for the most part on A covers. And when you think about it, the B covers, there's less of them out there typically as well too. So everybody who claims, oh, that's why this newsstand or this second or third print is worth more because there's less of them. Well, then why don't you like the B covers? Yeah. Tell me that. Riddle me this, Batman. Anyways, so that's the that was that B cover. That was a win. Hey, it was a nice win. This is, and just because keeping on that train there. So then here is a third printing, Hell Arisen.
I didn't even know that it went to a third printing.
Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, there's very nice. Second has the red background, and then the third is purple. These are quite abundant. I actually probably have like 4 or 5 copies of these. They're not very expensive. You get yourself a third printing 9.8. The value, fair market value on these is like $48.
That's actually the purple looks great.
Yeah.
That's really
it's one of those ones that was like, I was picking them up raw for like $9. And I was like, hey, I'll pick a couple of these up, and I knew that the character will probably, sounded like the character was going to have some legs down the road. Um, so for $9, I said, hey, the way that people are doing stuff with these subsequent printings, even if they only become worth 60 or 70 or even the $50 they are now, right? I've already 5 times my, well, now I factor in on that one, my grading cost, but actually this one I bought graded. This one was, I think I paid $29 for that one, graded as a 9.8.
Goodness. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Basically,
Yeah.
nothing.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the way it is. And let me put us back here because that's the end of box 1. It's
It was
empty.
quite the journey through Slab Hub today.
I hope that you guys got your cigarettes, smoke if you got them. I feel that tension release. I don't know about you, but
I may have to go have a nap.
So if there's any questions, anybody on any of the books you saw or any questions about the grading, again, feel free to pop them up here as we wrap up. We'll get to them. Next week's I'm going to be on the same time. Hopefully, Chris, you're available. You join me as well.
Yep, whenever you need me.
Excellent. Then we're going to do this for at least, I'm going to be doing this for the next we got 11 more weeks of boxes there, and of course that could expand because I may do a feature on the wall, and then of course I do have, it's just my daughter walking by. I have about 100 more that are out and grading right now.
It's our secret. It's our secret.
Now, fortunately, a good chunk, some of those aren't going to be back because of delays and everything else, aren't going to be back until summertime. But actually, well, if you do the math, 1 week at a time, I guess we'll do. So yeah, there we are. We'll be doing. I will say that there will be 1 week in May that I'll have to delay. We'll have to change the time that we'll do the show for those of you that are interested. But you'll get the alerts because you're going to hit that notification button and subscribe. So that way you know when we go live. I'll keep it the same except for 1 week. Fortunately, I won't be able to do it on the Saturday because I have to be in Utah picking my son up from college. It's time to come home for the summer. Anyways, everyone who joined us today, I really appreciate you. If you're watching this on the replay, thanks also for taking the time out of your day to watch this, because I know that seeing an hour-long video that was alive, it's kind of intimidating to go back and watch. So I appreciate you sticking through this all this time. Make sure you hit up and subscribe as well here to Chris the Comic Vet. Much appreciated for you joining me today and adding some commentary, making this a little bit more interesting than me just talking to a screen. And I hope that you guys out there found an opportunity to find something that was interesting about these books, maybe saw a book that you're interested in yourself that helps you down your collecting path. Chris, anything from your side that you got coming up you want to let everyone know about? I mean, other than, of course, go back and watch your video you dropped yesterday, that Friday video. For those of you watching this in the future, April 2nd release on Chris's with some real goodness there.
Oh, thanks for that, Rob. Yeah, it was yesterday's video was a labor of love. It was one of those type of moments where you have that Ratatouille moment where it whooshes you back to your childhood, and like looking at the wall in your comic shop and thinking one day I'll be able to have that book. And then through life, that book just keeps getting higher and higher and higher as you get older and older and older. And yesterday was the opportunity where along with some other key books and some other grails, I finally got to bring home. That's kind of what the ongoing story was. I finally got to bring it home, into my own personal collection. But tomorrow morning on Sunday, I'll be releasing two hot picks on my channel, where Mark from Legion of Comics, him and I pick just one singular hot pick for New Comic Book Day each, and we give reasons why that we're going to be going hard after this book, and the reason why we think that you should be going for it as well. And on Monday, I'll be doing another Mystery Box Monday, and Wednesday will be my New Comic Book Day pickups from my car. So that's it. But Rob, thank you very much for having me on your channel and going through this journey with that box. And whenever you need me, my friend, just ask, and I will be there for you every time.
I will get you the schedule. And Brian, to answer your question, I so not really. So when I first started doing this, I mean there will be a couple boxes that we'll get to where like there is a box that is nothing but Amazing Spider-Man, um, because I battle my OCD of wanting to put things together in runs, and so there are spots where we'll have blocks of books that are the same, but at the same time, I have 8 boxes of non-signed books and then in 4 boxes of signed slabs. And as and if you're trying to juggle that and keep them in an alphabetical order or something else, it becomes a lot of constantly moving things around. So I use an inventory application that has box locations, and I'm really just kind of putting them now for the most part in the next available book slot, and then label them, track them via my tracker. Now within each box, they're mostly alphabetical, because that way when I'm validating is my box aligned with the actual inventory that I have in my system, they're in the alphabetical order. I can see them in the same order, because I'll be damned, even no matter how much you try to do this inventory path, eventually things get out of whack. I know these boxes will only hold 29 to 30 slabs for the most part. And all of a sudden, when you look at one and you're like, oh, that box is full, but it says my inventory says only 24 books in there. Or that one says it has 40 books. Well, that just doesn't seem right. I didn't load it up with EGS slabs. So how does that work? So then you end up having to go figure out where things are at and do it. But that's half the joy. All right, guys. Again, thank you for joining us on this journey. I look forward to joining us again next week for Slab Hub episode 2, aka going deep in Rob's fat stacks of comics. Until next time, collect what you want. Don't let anybody, including myself, tell you what you should collect, because I'm just a fat man with a fat stack of comics and a fat opinion. Thanks for watching.